brief update. I've gotten the Glock and the M&P over the 1,000 round mark each. The Glock's at around 12, the M&P's around 11 and some change. The CZ, I have not been shooting as much. I've only been running some drills with it to keep my time. I've been basically doing time drills, bill drills, and 6.66 drills to see which one of the guns I'm performing best with. So I've continued to do that, although it's kind of not fair to the CZ because I'm not shooting it as much lately. But basically, once I catch all three of them up to 2,000 rounds, I'm going to start shooting each of them 200 rounds a week. With regard to the Glock, it's been functioning perfectly. I've had 0 jams. I've had no erratic ejection. Everything's been working perfectly. I was able to get a JM Custom Kydex holster in. Fortunately, it was one of their quick ship models. I was able to get it molded to the Enforce light that I have here. Let me tell you, the Enforce light, I like it, but it's cut. I got the Glock model before I realized that the Gen 5 is cut for the Picatinny rail and not the classic universal rail that the Glocks have always had. So it actually sits the light a little bit forward. I mean, it fits on fine, but you can see it's a little bit forward. Now, that's fine. I have average to smallish hands, and it doesn't affect it. But still, when you ordered the custom Glock model, you thought you were going to get a custom Glock model. Can't fault Enforce. The Glock changed it up on them, and after 20 years of having the other thing, they just decided they needed something new. And I'm sure that's something that the FBI probably made them do or something. Who cares? Either way, the light works fine. But I've got this custom Kydex inside the waistband holster. It fits fine. You do have to be a little bit careful with the Glocks, the Gen 5 Glocks, because the holsters need to have a little cutout for the ambidextrous slide release there. Jams are already molded for that, so that's perfect. I like a simple inside the waistband holster. JM they're pretty quick, and they make good quality holsters. I like them because they remind me of classic Raven before Raven decided to do whatever it is they do now. And they're relatively quick, but they also put out a good product. Anyway, I haven't cleaned it. Like I said, it's around 1,200 rounds now. It's functioning fine. Not only have I not cleaned it, I haven't even put a drop of oil. I'm going to run it to 2,000 like I did the CZ, and presumably there's not going to be any trouble. In terms of negatives, not really anything. I think I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of how the mag ejects. It's very, very weak, but if you hold the gun properly when you're changing mags, it will come out. Yeah, but it's too bad they weren't able to put that under a little more tension. But it's a minor thing. Let's see. I think that's about it. Glock's running great. In terms of the M&P, it's running great. No malfunctions. I will say this. I did have some user-induced malfunctions with the M&P. And what that was is during the 6.66 drills, as you probably know, you fire 3 shots, you eject the mag, you put in a new mag, and then you drop it on the slide and you fire 3 more. Well, I tend, when I've got the timer going, sometimes I don't get my support hand locked in properly before I start shooting. And, that's on me, not on the gun. But I did manage to ride the slide release lever and keep the slide from locking back on the first shot. I've done that twice now, both of them during 6.66 drills and both during the second half of the drill. Never during the first half, and I think that's because I've basically done so many presentations that my hand is always seated properly during the first part of it. It's only after I do the mag change and I'm speeding to get the gun back out, that I've had the problem. Again, I guess it could be gun related, but I don't think so. But I will say this, I have not had a similar malfunction with the Glock or the CZ. Now I think that's just a fluke of where my hand is landing on the gun after the drill. That's totally on me, but I did want to mention it just in case it pops up down the road that it is something mechanical and you don't say, well, Greg, you never mentioned that before. In terms of again, the grip is fantastic. It's by far the best grip of the 3 guns. I thought the CZ had a good grip until I got this one. I really love the texturing. I like aggressive texturing. It's not brutal, but everything on here is textured in such a way that when you reach for the gun, it just sinks in. When you reach in there, the gun I mean, it sort of glides into your hand. I'm really a fan of the way the grip works on this. The accuracy, I've noticed no accuracy issues with this gun. I did have an early, well, not an early, I actually had a fairly mid-range M&P full size a few years back, and it was just terrible in accuracy. Even rested at 25 yards, it shot pizza box size groups. This gun here, I'd say it's functionally identical to the Glock in terms of accuracy. Both of them shoot about as well as a person can carefully shoot the gun. I will say the CZ shoots a little better, especially whether you pick up on that. Is where I'm shooting at 100 yards. I've noticed at the CZ, you'll hit the plate a little bit more with the CZ, and that all comes down to the super light trigger on the CZ. I will say another problem I had with the M&P, again, this is not the gun, but this is one of the so-called features of the gun, which is the 17-round adapter. I'm not a fan. I'm probably going to ditch it completely. As you can see, it seems like a neat idea, and it does keep you from over-inserting the magazine. Also helps you distinguish the 17s from the 15 easily. The problem I had was during some of my drills, I noticed that I think what had happened is, I'm not really sure, but this base plate was sliding off, and this right here was a little cockeyed, and I think there was some odd pressure on the mag plate. I don't really know, but I've never seen that before, and it's got a pretty good locking mechanism for holding it in place. So my suspicion is that this thing right here was causing it. And also sometimes it'll be, if you've got it in a mag holder, it'll come loose, and it's something. It's a good idea, but they need to come out with one that an elephant's foot, like all the other people make. Just an additional base plate that fits on here, that would be perfect. This one right here, it's a nice idea, and it's free, and it comes in the box, and I'm not knocking them for it, but it just doesn't work right, at least in my experience. The CZ. Now, I haven't really been shooting this that much while I try to catch the other guns up, but I did actually have a malfunction today with this. Basically what happened was, and I see if you can see this on the screen of my iPad here. You can see I basically had a failure to extract. I like how I'm showing that, like you're going to be able to see it in 3D or something. But basically the primer was struck, the round went off, and it just did not get out of the chamber before this next round came up, and it got jammed up. As you can see, I was using the Tula ammunition. I guess it could be the Tula, but it hasn't happened in almost 5,000 rounds, and I'd say over 3 of them have been Tula, maybe almost 4 have been Tula and Wolf steel-cased ammunition. I haven't seen it. Could be a fluke. You never know. Could just be it was its time, but note that the CZ has been cleaned. At the 2,000 round mark, I cleaned it, so you can't even really chalk it up to a dirty chamber. But it did happen. In terms of shooting it, it's still the fastest gun in terms of build drills, and again, that comes right down to the trigger. It's the most accurate at long range, and I also did get, this took a little bit longer to come, the Glock thing, I think I got it within 10 days. It was a quick ship product. This took closer to a month. This is the same JM custom Kydex holster. I got it molded for the XC1. It's a good fit. It's nicely made for they're fun. I mean, they're essentially identical, which is what I wanted. I wanted both of the holsters to have basically the same profile. So, and the guns are so similar. Now, I haven't really talked about it, but the M&P I did not order a holster for. I guess that makes me a bad person, but I didn't want to buy another light. I've been running these X200s forever, and I love them. And basically, you can run them until they break, and when they break, you send them to Surefire, and they'll probably send you an X300 back. The only problem with that is I still have these old Raven holsters for my full-size M&P, so it fits it fine. And, this is an expensive holster. I've got a nice light that fits it and everything else. Hopefully this light doesn't break, but again, I didn't really want to pay another $100 or $70 or whatever for another holster, and then also have to buy a compact white. I'm not really carrying the M&P. Honestly, I carry a J-frame most of the time, and usually when I'm not carrying that, I might carry my shield, and if I'm carrying a full-size gun, a lot of times I just carry my Beretta. But you know, who knows? One of these guns might end up being my carry gun. But I'm not one of these folks that has to have one perfect gun. I understand the philosophy behind it, and I've spent a lot of years trying to find the one perfect gun. But at this point, I've decided I just like different guns for different purposes. But anyway, another interesting thing about this holster is it fits all the guns. You can see this fits in it. Well, of course that fits in it. The CZ fits in it. And of course the Glock fits in it, even with all these different lights. And I've been using it for my time drills. You can see it's not a perfect fit, but it basically seats them all properly. And I guess you could say for the Glock it might even be a slight advantage on the draw because it holds it a little loose in terms of, but you know, it holds it properly. I do all my drills with this holster because all three guns fit and it holds them all at the exact same angle. And I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Either way, nothing particularly exciting. I don't know if I talked about it, but I've been shooting this Tula ammo. This stuff is about $149 per 1,000, which is about as cheap ammo as I can find, and I don't like reloading anymore because I'm a lazy person. This stuff is fine. You know, it's loaded kind of medium. It's not light like it used to be, so I haven't really seen any functioning problems. I did have that one. I did have that one failure to eject, but I really don't think it was this. I've fired thousands and thousands of rounds of this stuff, and it seems to be working. I've got about 3,500 rounds of this stuff stacked up right now, and I need to order some more. It is very dirty, though, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with the M&P. Let's see if you can see that. You see how dirty the light got? Yeah, well, still punches through pretty good. But anyway, this Tula stuff is really nasty in terms of dirtiness. But again, I'm a cheapskate. I'm not going to spend, I'm not going to spend $300 shooting Lawman or $250 shooting Lawman through here or whatever it's costing now. As far as I can tell, every time I go searching, the Tula is the cheapest, and it seems to work. I'm not getting any dead primers. I'm not getting any, bullet setback or any of the stuff I used to get when I used to shoot Wolf way back in the day. At this point, the stuff seems to be working fine. In terms of drills, in terms of totals, the CZ has 2246 through it, the G19 has 1218, and the M&P has 1122 rounds. Again, the only malfunction so far has been one malfunction with the CZ P10, which was a failure to extract. I did get those issues with failure to lock backs on the M&P, but that's totally me. The CZ had the best bill drill, again, the best overall time. But it was very close with the M&P. And interestingly, on that one, the CZ was the first gun I used. On the backside, I did some 6.66 drills, and the Glock cleaned up on that one. Sub 5 second on the 6.66 drill. It even beat the CZ. The reload was about 0.2 of a second slower with the CZ. The M&P was the slowest, but interestingly, again, the M&P was first on that drill, so it was actually the slowest. I can't really think of anything else. The guns are working great. My intention is to shoot them all until they break.